Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kelly Troutman. I am a certified hand therapist. Today's video, we are going to be talking about a home exercise program that might help you if you have a trigger thumb. So I just have a trigger finger video out that is really similar to this. I will link it below. You are also welcome to go through any of my old trigger thumb, trigger finger videos, but this is kind of an updated view on what home exercise program and what types of exercises, stretches, what kind of stuff you should be doing. It is something that I receive comments on all the time, and so I wanted to just make a more comprehensive and clear video. So hopefully that is helpful for you. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave any comments below. If you have questions or concerns, let me know. I will answer them. So without further ado, let's get into this video. The first thing that I think is really crucial to understand is knowing that every time your thumb locks, triggers, or gets stuck down, it irritates the tissue more and it actually makes things a little bit worse over time. So that being said, it is going to trigger sometimes. It's not possible to completely stop the triggering. You have to use your hands during the day. You can't completely immobilize your thumb, and it's not healthy for it to be completely immobilized. So it will happen, and that's okay, but don't play with it. Don't sit there and test to see if it's still doing it. Try to avoid activities that require repetitive thumb use, pinching, lifting things up with the thumb. Trying not to do scrolling on your phone. That's really bad for your trigger thumb. So just try to avoid clicking as much as possible. Something that might help you if you're having a trigger thumb that locks every single time you bend or you do anything with your thumb. One thing that you can use that I've found to be particularly helpful is an oval 8 splint. You can have someone make something like this for you. Or you can purchase it. I believe you can purchase these over the counter. You just need to know the size of your thumb. So I will link the Oval 8 company below. I think they have some information about sizing on their website. There's a lot of different options for these. With a trigger thumb, the way that you'll wear this is you'll put this crossbar directly over the back of the joint. So it just slides on like a ring. This one's a little bit snug for me, but it sits over the top of the joint so that when you try to bend the finger, the tip of the thumb doesn't bend, which is usually what the trigger is being caused by. Usually the tip of the thumb is the problem. So if we can block that during functional activities during the day, that usually helps. That being said, you cannot live in this splint. You cannot wear it 24/7. I can't talk today. You cannot live in this 24/7. Your thumb will get so stiff and it will be really hard to regain motion. So what you'll need to do is every couple of hours throughout the day, you'll need to take this off, do some stretching, and let your thumb be free to move a little bit. I'm going to show you some controlled stretches that you can use to help with the thumb and maintain mobility. But these do really help when worn correctly, which is to say not 24/7. Usually I recommend people wear these for about 4 to 6 weeks, and hopefully that helps take care of the problem so that you can stop wearing this as much. Yeah, that's what I have to say about splinting for trigger thumbs. So some basic stretches that I usually recommend. Typically I tell people to start with some different forearm stretches. I think that really helps. You do them every couple hours throughout the day. It's something that we all probably should be doing anyway. They're passive stretches. You're going to hold them for about 5 seconds. The first one, you have your affected arm outstretched. You're going to use your other hand to pull the wrist down just till you feel a stretch, and hold for about 5 seconds. If it is too intense for you with the arm straight, you can go ahead and bend the elbow, and that usually makes it a little bit less intense. The second version of that stretch is pulling back, and you'll notice that I have captured the thumb and the fingers and the palm. So I'm not just pulling back the fingers and letting the palm and the thumb down. I'm not just pulling back the palm and letting the fingers hang. I'm trying to capture the whole hand. So I do that by kind of placing my hand down, cupping underneath, and then pulling back. Does that make sense? So I've got the thumb, the fingers, and the palm pulled back. I'm not pushing back too far on any one feature. It's an even pressure throughout the whole hand. Okay? As that gets more comfortable for you, more accessible for you, you can flip the palm towards the ceiling and gently pull the thumb back. This is not cranking it. This is not torquing the thumb. You want to be very gentle, and your palm goes with it like that. Okay? That's a little bit more advanced stretch, so do be careful with that one. It's always advisable to see a hand therapist or a doctor before you start stretching, of course, but just be gentle so that you don't hurt yourself. The other type of exercise that can be really helpful, especially if you're using this little splint, you want to make sure that you take it off throughout the day and you're doing some stretches with the thumb to make sure that it doesn't get too stiff. You need to make sure that your thumb is completely relaxed, so the thumb is not actively completing the movement. It's totally relaxed so that the other hand can take charge. With this type of exercise, you're going to passively bend at each joint separately, which means that you're using your other hand to complete the movement, and this thumb stays totally relaxed. With this exercise, you should not have any clicking or triggering. And if you do, you should not complete the exercise because you're probably not getting quite the right stretch that you need to. With trigger fingers, typically active motion will will cause the lock or the trigger, but typically passive motion will not. So if you're not doing it exactly correctly, you may still get a trigger or a lock with that passive stretch, and that would not be advisable for you. So to complete that stretch, you're going to take your other hand and just bend down the tip joint and straighten it. Let me see if I can show you from a different angle. There we go, that's better. So it's just gently bending and straightening. I'm not using my thumb to complete the movement at all. It is staying totally relaxed, but just to complete some range of motion exercises so that my thumb doesn't get too stiff. Once you do that a few times, you'll move down to the big joint. And again, bending and straightening very gently with your thumb. Notice that I'm kind of keeping my IP joint straight as I do this because I'm really trying to isolate only one joint at a time. This is not a stretch where you want to be extremely aggressive. You want to be very gentle, taking it through the range of motion. Be like 5 to 10 times, a few times a day. So that's what I have to say about trigger thumb stretches. If you have questions or if you feel like you're not doing it quite right, leave a comment for me and I will try to help you out with that. I also recommend doing a little bit of self-mobilization or self-massage techniques. For the thumb, it is a little bit hard to get into the angle that you need to get to. For the fingers, it's easy, right? Because the fingers are very flat in this area, but the thumb is kind of like turned. It's not like on the same plane. So the spot that you need to get to is actually like right here. It's not directly in this part of the thumb. It's like almost right in the like the little groove or the little corner here. There will be like a little painful nodule in that spot, and you'll know when you find it because it will hurt. And when you kind of push on it, you'll be able to see like that tendon a little bit kind of pop through or bend. But what you'll want to do is you'll use a finger or 2 fingers to kind of get into that spot, find that little painful nodule, and then you're going to bring it back and forth like a little crisscross movement. So the tendon is running in a perpendicular direction to what I'm massaging. Does that make sense? So I'm massaging in a perpendicular direction of the tendon. There we go. You do want a fair amount of pressure. You don't want to be just like petting the skin. You want to push in and roll the tendon side to side. You can do that about a minute or 2, and you can do that a couple times a day. Something good to do while you're watching TV. Set a timer on your phone. Make sure you're not doing it for too long. It will be a little bit sore sensitive, so you can use some ice afterwards, and I will show you that next. But that is called a cross friction massage, and that will really help your trigger finger. Okay, and last but not least, ice. Ice can be really helpful because it helps calm the inflammation in the area of the trigger thumb where all that tissue is getting irritated. So you can use an ice pack. If you do that, 10 to 15 minutes is plenty of time, maybe even less than that. But what I would actually recommend is using an ice massage. So you'll either freeze a Dixie cup with water and peel back the top, or you can use just an ice cube wrapped in a paper towel. You're going to target the same area that you were with your massage, and you're going to directly apply the ice to the skin. It's going to feel like it's burning, it's stinging, aching, and then it will go numb. It will probably only take a minute to a minute and a half because this area is pretty thin, and there's not a lot of like muscle or fat tissue in that area. It will not feel comfortable. You will probably want to stop. But if you can try to get through that minute, it will start to feel better. And after you do it, it will feel a lot better. It's just trying to kind of get through the torture of the minute. It doesn't have to be really, really hard pressure, but you can do a little bit of massage with it. You can put a little bit of pressure into it. It starts to get pretty uncomfortable, but try to hang in there as best you can. If you have some sort of reason why you should not be doing any cold treatments, you have cold allergy or cold intolerance, or a condition that is contraindicated for cold applications, obviously don't do this. If you develop hives or extreme redness or some sort of funky reaction after this, consult with your doctor to ask them if cold application would be appropriate for you. So ice massage, it works really well. Feels super uncomfortable, but it actually helps a lot. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you found it helpful. Again, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, please leave them below. I answer every comment as best that I can. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any more hand therapy videos. Thank you guys for watching.